Hi, and welcome to my presentation. My name is Mei-Ling Liber, and here's my research project on characterizing blast waveforms for traumatic brain injury in an open-ended shock tube model. Traumatic brain injury, or TBI, is not just a concussion. It also has been linked to longer-term neuropsychological effects that often cannot be seen, such as depression, anxiety, and social withdrawal. You can see on this chart that there are some staggering statistics about TBI. I've also been affected by TBI on a personal level. In the top right corner here is my friend, specialist Matthew Murphy, who was diagnosed with TBI in 2009 when his artillery vehicle had an accidental misfire. He was able to escape that incident and survive along with his fellow soldiers, but he still suffers from TBI and PTSD 12 years later. Long-term effects of TBI are also poorly understood and are linked to a higher risk of committing suicide, even after many years. To effectively study and treat TBI in humans, we must first conduct experiments in animal subjects and attempt to recreate the pathophysiological mechanisms. TBI can vary from person to person, and we have different ways of modeling the disease progression in laboratory settings, including a weight drop model, a fluid percussion model, controlled cortical impact, and a blast-induced model. This last one is what we use in our lab and is used to model TBI caused by explosions. There are many types of explosions, which depend on a variety of factors, but for our purposes, we will consider it as an instantaneous burst of overpressurization, as you can see here, that radiates outward followed by dissipation of the blast wave. This explosion can also be described mathematically by the Friedlander wave equation, which is governed by these wave parameters. The peak overpressure is the maximum pressure generated by the explosion, and there's a positive pressure phase duration, which rapidly decays into a negative phase, or negative pressure, and the duration of the wave is indicated by the positive phase duration. In the lab, we can model this by using a blast-induced model or a compressed gas shock tube, where a compressed gas cylinder is connected to a driver and driven section composed of two different gases that is separated by a diaphragm. Upon release of the gas, pressure builds up in the driver section that ruptures the diaphragm, causing the driver gas to expand into the driven section and create a shock wave that propagates down the tube and out into the test section. This is also where the animal's head would be. Pressure readings can be taken and analyzed to see if it follows a Friedlander wave pressure profile. It is important to note that special consideration should be given to the magnitude of the pressure exerted in the animal. It cannot be too high, otherwise it becomes lethal, and the duration of pressure must be extremely short, on the order of milliseconds. We also know that different gases in the compressed gas cylinder have been known to produce different wave effects, such as different magnitudes and the length of wave or duration. We wanted to take advantage of this knowledge to design a compressed gas system that would be appropriately scaled for small animals that would still allow them to withstand the high pressures and forces acting upon them. The goal of this research then was to answer the following questions. Will using a different driver gas influence the shape of the wave, i.e., could we get a wave to closely resemble a Friedlander mathematical model? And two, what is the best driver gas to use for blast-induced traumatic brain injury research? The different types of gases that we used were air, argon, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and helium. Indeed, there is an effect depending on the type of gas used as the driver. Most obvious is the effect on wave shape, where you can see that pressure readings here undulate around a certain pressure reading instead of decaying rapidly to a negative phase for these four gases. However, for helium, there is no plateau effect observed. The molecular weight of the gas also played a large role in determining what the peak incident pressure would be, or here, and the duration correlation, which was the positive phase duration of the wave. There was inverse correlation between molecular weight and peak incident pressure, and correlation for the duration. The higher the molecular weight, the longer the duration of the blast. In conclusion, these results have shown us that helium is the best driver gas to use for blast-induced compressible gas shock tube models because it generates a Friedlander wave signature reminiscent of field explosions with the highest peak pressure and shortest duration suited for small animals. Heavier molecular weight gases produce sustained pressure on animals, which is not what we wanted and not representative of explosive blast waves. Future work to characterize the blast waves imparted on the animals can utilize flow visualization techniques like Schlieren and shadowgraph imaging to understand blast wave phenomena. These tools will help us better understand and fine-tune the model to generate scaled blast waves that can then be used to study inflammatory signaling cascades and altered gene expression in animal subjects. Thank you for watching. I'd like to express my gratitude to my principal investigator, Dr. Robson, Evan Reeder, my graduate student mentor, and Chris, Roman, and Sophia, who have also helped me with this project. Feel free to ask me questions and drop your comments below the video. Thank you.